Hey guys, I'm back. Mike Robert here. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to like and subscribe. So today I want to share with you guys a really cool way to generate quality leads for your clients, okay? Some of the challenges that you may face when generating a lead is someone that may have entered in the wrong phone number or is probably unaware that they filled out a form. That is not as common, but it could happen. But another challenge could be a bad phone number. Okay, now me personally, I like to think that no one intentionally puts in a bad phone number unless you're giving away something for free and they believe if they fill this form out that they're going to get, right, the magic prize on the other end of what you're offering, right, so to speak. So believe it or not, even with different things that I've given away on my site at times, people would do that, right? They just put in any number so that they can get to the end. So one of the ways to combat that, essentially, and how to, get better quality leads, it does take some tech, right? So if you don't have a lot of tech skills, this is something that you're gonna have to pass off to your tech team. But one of the things that works is when you have a form, and we're assuming you have a landing page or website, when someone fills out that form, they're going to give you some information. Ideally, it's going to be their name, their email, phone number, city, state they're in if needed, right, or zip code, and then maybe a description box, or if they're putting a couple inputs, or maybe not, right? But essentially, we're going to get these three basic points of contact, right? Their information: name, email, phone number, right? Now, when someone clicks submit, one of the things that you can do, rather than saying, hey, we sent you a code, because if they gave you the wrong number, or if they gave you the number wrong accidentally, which happens, believe it or not, with people typing on their mobile device, sometimes they just put the wrong digit in, right? And assuming you've configured your form to take appropriate area codes, by the way, which is very easy to do, but that way your form cannot accept area codes that don't exist, and obviously fake, 111, 222, 3, numbers like that. But one of the things that works is once they hit submit on that form, you can show them a screen before the thank you page that says, hey, please verify your phone number. Now that's one strategy. Another strategy that you can do in the same step is, hey, we just sent you a quick text, or we tried to send you a text, but it didn't go through. Please verify your phone number. And essentially the form right below that would be a phone input form where they can re-enter their phone number if it's not accurate. I have found that this can help increase lead quality because obviously someone is focused again. They're focused on, oh, maybe I messed up my phone number, and they're gonna put in a new number, or if their number is correct, they'll say, no, this is my number, and continue. And then the third way is where you send them a code. So this, again, like I said, could take some tech, right? But this is where you would configure the system to generate a unique code that they would have to enter in on that step. So that means the only way they're going to get the code is if they gave you the correct phone number, got the text message, and then can put the code in, and then your form would save the accurate phone number and then take them to the thank you page, right? So this again it's not necessarily new, right? I think we all see this from different organizations, maybe your phone company, your bank, right? These are just strategies, again, when you're thinking about lead generation. Let's say you have a client that's saying, hey, we had a couple of disconnected numbers or bad numbers. You don't really know if that's true because there's no way for you to know that. And if they're getting a lot of leads, there's really no way for you to know that as well, because now you're thinking, okay, how do you mitigate that, right? Because obviously you want to make sure that's not occurring. Well, you can't go and just start calling a bunch of leads because you have so much going on within the organization. But one of the things you can do is this process right here. And I would add these steps as simple as possible. So again, like I said, it does take a little bit of tech, but essentially what's occurring is a lead fills out the form, lead comes in, bam, lead sees next screen, which I would add maybe a slight load spinner to that where it might be a 1 or 2 second delay. Boom, hey, we tried to send you a message, or that's one option, or we please verify your phone number. That's a second option. And the third option, we just sent you a code to your mobile phone, but it didn't go through. So if it doesn't go through, that takes a webhook, by the way, that would send a message to your phone provider that you're using to send SMS. It would send it back to your system saying, hey, it didn't go through, and then immediately would have to prompt, which again takes some code, but it would prompt them to enter in their new number to get the code. Now, naturally, someone who abandons and gave you the wrong number is someone that, guess what? Your client doesn't have to see that lead. You as the business doesn't have to see that lead. Now, obviously, you can still save the lead because maybe the email is accurate and you can follow up with them. But this would, again, mitigate that process of a disconnected number or a wrong number. Now, this does not overshadow clients that try to game the system or salespeople that don't want to work leads, right? If you're the business owner and your team is saying, oh, it's just another bad number, those things as well do happen. And, as owners, as sales managers, and we have to obviously, hold our team accountable to work leads. When I was in, and this is a quick tidbit, but when I was in sales, I never in my wildest, I was so bad at sales when I got started that I knew I was bad. I think the managers knew I was bad. And I was just, at the time, this was over a decade ago, I was just grateful to have an opportunity to work every day and make money, to have access to that. Because I never wanted to be, when you're not good at sales, the last thing you want to do is be thrown into a gauntlet where you have to be good at sales and there's so much pressure on you to perform because you're not going to perform, right? So I was like, man, I don't want to lose this job. I'm grateful that they brought me in. I know I'm not hitting big numbers, but at the same time, if I lose this job, I don't know if I'll be as good as at another sales job. So I hung on to that job, for quite some time. So for me, I never made excuses like that. And this is, again, it's a parallel because sometimes people might say those things to either get a lead credit or they're trying to game the system or they didn't close somebody. And so they make up these excuses, right? But the whole idea with that is that when you add these features, you're obviously improving that. So it's virtually impossible for someone to say now, when someone re-entered the number, got a text message, enter a code, the number is invalid, right? It can't be that the number is invalid because you got the text to them. It shows you that the number is accurate. They got the code, right? So the number obviously works, right? And so these are strategies, obviously, for the business, protecting you when sending leads out and that making sure the leads are quality. Assurance for your clients that they know they're getting real viable leads, right, as well. And then obviously managing that, right? Managing where your database can manage those things over time. And again, these are strategies, if you want to implement them, you can. I just find them to be really cool, the things you can do with technology and how you can implement those for your business. So if you found any value in today's video, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.